My name is Bryan McGowan. I'm owner of Security Services. We're a security consulting business here in West Texas. We're here at Second Story in Midland, Texas. It's a shared, I believe it's a shared workspace facility, very nice facility right across the street from the Bush Convention Center. Also want to thank BAM Consulting. They are helping bringing this to you tonight. What we're here for tonight is to talk a little bit about security of your small business. You hear about things all the time. Just last week, everyone heard of Twitter getting hacked and security breach there. You always hear about these things. Maybe tonight we'll be able to clarify some of these things that you're hearing about. All right? Secure Services is a security consulting business. We do risk mitigation. We help companies identify the risk, look at their processes, procedures, help them understand what is good for the business and what might be a vulnerability. All right? We have over 25 years experience in doing this in both security and law enforcement. My previous life, I was in Midland Police Department. I worked for Midland Police Department here in Midland, Texas. Also, I have a lot of experience dealing with government agencies, government programs. We are the only certified security consultants in West Texas. I'm a certified protection professional. It's just a fancy name. Says I read a lot of books and went and had to take certification exams. So over security management, security practices, a lot of business principles. All right. Security for small business. Why do we want to talk about this? Do you know that 61% of all security breaches target small businesses? That number alone is kind of shocking to me. But when you realize it, a lot of companies don't think it can happen to them. And when you're building a business or you are running an existing business and you're concerned on everything, you're looking at all your regulatory issues, you're looking at your business principles, your bottom line, you're looking at all these things. Security has become part of businesses these days. Used to, you always thought of security as that security guard standing there with his baton, making at nighttime with his keys, making sure nobody enters your building. Well, now security is part of businesses. The majority of your Fortune 500 companies, your big businesses have security guys that report directly to the board. So with small businesses, they kind of get left behind because sometimes they can't afford these things. They don't understand what is a risk and what is not a risk. Okay? So security for small business, what I'll talk about a little bit tonight is a little bit about information security, cybersecurity, physical security, and personnel security. Those are your big four securities that you worry about as a business, okay? Your information security. A lot of people would think that is cybersecurity, and in essence, it really isn't. Your information security is your policies, your procedures, it's your intellectual property. We live in West Texas. There's more innovation when it comes to the oil and gas industry in West Texas than probably anywhere else in the country. There's a lot of intellectual property. All right? You have to protect those things. A lot of export control information that people can get in trouble if you do not protect it in the right way. There's some certain companies that you can't just sell certain items to. There's export control rules. That's a whole different class. I won't get into that right now because it is very confusing on export control. But intellectual property, you got to really protect your intellectual property. Cybersecurity, that is security of your computers, your mobile devices, your Internet of Things. We are in a connected world these days. As I'm looking at Angel, he's checking his messages from you guys. He's always connected. We're always connected. You always have that computer in your pocket. More technology in that than was to put the man on the moon, probably. But computers are very important for businesses these days. You can't live without them. all right? Your mobile devices are just an extension of that computer, of that network. Then there's Internet of Things. You have that fancy thermostat, but it's actually connected to your network. So that is really, in essence, another computer you need to consider. All right? Physical security. I like talking about physical security because it seems like these days you always hear about hacking. But physical security is kind of the lost piece to your security program. It's your physical building. It's how do you secure your computers, your server rooms? How do you secure everything? What kind of locks do you use? What kind of security systems do you use? Those kind of things you need to realize what is good, what is bad, what is a vendor trying to sell you that you don't need. All right? Personnel security. Okay, personnel security is exactly that. It's like HR, human resources. They're looking at everything to do with employees, but also with personnel security, you have personally identified information. You could have vendor lists. You could have cost structure, stuff like that. You need to know what those employees are doing. American Society for Industrial Security says that you should do a background check on your senior level people inside your company every 18 months. And I know most people don't do that every 18 months. But they say that because it will find things that people are doing. Is their credit bad? Are they overextended? Are they having problems? These telltale signs start popping up. U.S. government, you have a security clearance if you work for the U.S. government. And I tell you, they do a background check on you every so many years. It's not 18 months, depending on the program that you're in. You guys listening would know that. Won't get into that. But you should be looking at your employees on a regular basis. Your employees are your weakest link, believe it or not. I know everybody trusts their employees, but your employee is your weakest link. So, let's talk about information security. All right? We have so much information these days, all the time. You're always on that cell phone. That cell phone has so much information about you and your life. Just, if you lose that cell phone, you have lost a lot of information for you and your everything you do every day, from email to contact lists to business, financials, everything, okay? You look at information security, this could be just your paper that you have at your office. It could be your client list. What clients do you do business with? Do you want your competitor to know that? I wouldn't. Personally identifiable information. You can get in trouble for exposing that kind of stuff if you're not protecting it. All right, it has your social security numbers. So nobody would put their social security number, anything with social security number, in your trash these days. So the company should be protecting it just as much. All right? Vendor list. Okay? When you're bidding on that big contract and you are going out and you're talking to your vendors, how much can you do it for this? How much can you do it for that? You don't want your competitor to know what vendors you're using. Next thing you know, they might be trying to approach those vendors and get information from them. All right? Your cost structure. How much it costs to do business? What are you charging? You don't want anyone knowing that. That is your proprietary information. So protecting that information is very key. All right? Bidding information. If you're bidding on a project, you're bidding on building that big bank building downtown Midland, Texas, you don't want anyone else knowing where you are when it comes to your cost. Because that is your information. You are trying to protect that. You're trying to give the best, you're putting the best foot forward. You're trying to actually make sure you're winning that bid, but you don't want anybody to know what your bid is, because then what they do, they come in and undercut you. This is very big with foreign countries. I won't name any names that actually do a lot of business in the United States. They will go in and they will actually try to hack those companies to find out where they are. This is happening all the time. All right? Voids information. Is your company proprietary? Are you that new drilling company that just has that revolutionary drill bit that nobody else has, and it's able to drill faster, quicker, better than anything else out there? You don't want anyone else knowing that. Or actually, you don't want anyone knowing how you make it. There might be little keys to how you make it, your secret sauce. You don't want anyone to know that. All right? What are your policies and procedures? What is your policies for dealing with certain processes within your company? You don't want to share that. You spend a lot of money developing that. So why should you let that policy procedure that you spent $20,000 to develop, giving it to a competitor for free? You don't want to get that happen. So you got to protect your information. Okay? Now, cybersecurity. Can't talk about security these days without talking about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is really risk mitigation. If you're in the security business, you're in the risk business. You're always evaluating their risk. What is the risk that you're willing to take? Okay? Many times businesses don't consider cyber as a big risk, when actually it is, because they're too small when they're a small business. Small businesses are 6% more likely to be hacked and compromised than their competitors, than a large business, because a lot of times they don't realize certain things. They don't realize that they could be a target. I'm not a big business. I don't think my information is very important. Is your vendor list important? Is your proprietary information important? Is your bid information important? Those are very important things, and you store them all in these IT systems. You got to make sure they're protected. Are you a bank? Are you adhering to the PCI standards? You got to realize these things. There's so many IT security standards out there. You got to understand these, but it's all about risk. Okay? Since COVID-19, FBI has reported 300% increase in cyber crime. 300% increase in cyber crime. Okay? 43% of cyber attacks focus on small businesses. They target those small businesses. There's a big case that was where a Russian hacker actually targeted a small business to get into the card payment system of a bank through a small business. They basically leapfrogged through that and into the bank, tried to cover the trails that way. All right? But small businesses are targets. Okay? Average cost for security breach globally is $3.9 million. By the time you identify, you fix the gap, any mitigation that you have to do, any kind of patching holes, and then you have what was compromised, what did you lose. So when that's all said and done, the average cost for a major corporation is $1.9 million. Approximately $6 trillion will be spent this year just on cybersecurity globally. $6 trillion. I mean, that's more than a lot of countries' national budgets. $6 trillion, Hey, 77% of companies do not have a cybersecurity response plan. What do you do if this happens to you? Is what you have to ask yourself. What are you prepared to do? If you get that malware, WannaCry if anyone remembers that, a lot of hospitals got attacked by that. And it was ransomware where they locked down their systems. They could not get into those systems without paying in Bitcoin. Okay? What do you do if that happens? Are you doing your backups? Or are you doing certain things to prevent this from happening? Some corporations that are prepared might just say, you know what, we're not paying it, we just restore from our backup. You know, we'll just scrap it, we start over. But a small business can't do that, they can't afford that. So you've got to make sure that you're doing the proper things. Okay? Cybersecurity impacts everything in your life these days. Your computer, your cell phone, your TV. A lot of people don't realize you got that nice 80, 90, 150 inch TV in your bedroom that you just bought. It is connected to your network. So it, in essence, is a computer. You got to realize those things. There's vulnerabilities not too long ago where certain government agencies were listening in to people through their TV. So you got to think about those things. Your lights. Got the nice little app on your phone, you turn your lights on and off. Well, that can be manipulated also through your network. Okay? Your security cameras, your nanny cam. If you have that nanny cam and you're watching your kids, you got to realize if you are not making sure your network at your house is locked down, somebody else can be watching your kid. And just go to YouTube and watch the videos. There's tons of them where people are posting them, talking to kids through the camera. So you gotta realize these things, right? Thermostats, you know, you're gonna turn your heat up, turn it down, but it's connected to your network. Just remember, okay, your cell phone, we've already kind of talked about the cell phone a little bit. You have your Alexa, Google Assistant, they're always listening. Just remember that. They're always listening. I don't care what they say, they're always listening. So, I told a former employer, thanks for giving me this listening device that everybody in China can hear me on. I appreciate it. Thank you for the gift at Christmas time. It's kind of a joke that a lot of me and my friends have, but they're always listening. Okay? Some security breaches, a little bit. Yahoo had 3 billion accounts compromised. I know somebody on this today has probably got that email from some friend of yours that had a Yahoo account that is now a prince that is needing money. So that's where all these start, okay? Yahoo had 3 billion accounts compromised. LinkedIn. A lot of us are on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. Angel's on LinkedIn. Bryan Consulting, Secure Services, we're on LinkedIn. But they had 6 million accounts compromised. Change passwords regularly. Anytime you hear of a compromise, go change your password immediately. Those things to think about. Okay, Equifax. Okay, Equifax was huge. 147.9 million accounts compromised. And all these come from NBC. All my data here come from NBC. Verified from NBC. Adobe. Everybody uses Adobe in some way, some form, some fashion. Okay, if you have an Adobe account, possibility that your account was compromised. 153 million accounts compromised. Okay, I keep talking about the breaches because it's happening on a regular basis. Okay, and I want to talk about how you can fix some of these things, little small things. Okay, Target. Everybody remember Christmas time when Target got hacked? That cost them $202 million to clean that up. There's a warehouse with servers in it that they just scrapped them because they couldn't get it all up. And how they got in? Internet of Things. A vendor had access through the HVAC system. They jumped in there and they got into the part of the system. Okay? OPM. You guys have security clearances. OPM, you know all about this. But OPM, they believe it was over $300 million what that cost to clean up with the additional monitoring, clean up, all that. Okay. Talk a little bit about attacks, different attacks. You've probably heard some of these things. Okay, you have a virus or a Trojan horse. Everybody knows a Trojan horse. The gates were closed. They thought they pushed the horse up there. They thought nobody was in it. They pushed it all the way in. All the soldiers were inside, and then they attacked. So, Trojan horse, virtually. You get a virus, it sits there, and all of a sudden it comes alive. And it goes all through what's looking for, elevate its privileges. They want to look for admin access, because what happens? Your admin, he has keys to the kingdom. He has access to everything. Right? Phishing. You hear a lot about phishing. And phishing attacks are very sophisticated, but they can be prevented with proper training. You look at the emails, look at the grammar in the emails, hover over the URL. Does it say BAM Consulting, or does it say bamconsulting.ca, which is going to China? Or are you going to Russia, for example? You're looking for things like that. Okay? Denial of service. You heard that, I'm sure you heard that term, denial of service. What that is when a hacker or someone attacking your system just bombards that system with traffic. It's like you're going through, you have a pipe and water's flowing through it, and you're just trying to shut so much through it. Only so much can go through it, and it shuts down, and then it reboots, and then they get in. Okay? Keyloggers. Every key you punch, it logs. So what do you look for? Control Alt Delete, because what do you do after that? Enter your password. I don't need to hack your system. I just got your password and your credentials. If you don't have other things on your network, boom. Okay. Social engineering. A lot of people probably have never heard of that. Social engineering is basically the art of manipulating people into getting things up that they would not normally do. For example, if I go to you and ask you, what is your birthday? You're not going to tell me what your birthday is, because I'm a stranger. I'm going to say, hey, what month were you born in? Okay, now the month. Later down the road, what day were you born on? Oh, this day. How old are you? And you do the math, and you got this whole birthday. And you start building a profile on your victim, your attack surface. You start gathering that information. Okay? We are very socially vulnerable to this, is the way I can say it. Everybody is vulnerable to this, depending on what they're asking. With proper training, your employees, you can be more aware of what people are trying to do and what things you should talk about and what things you should not be talking about. Okay? Bait and switch. Basically, you get that link in an email to a website. You click on it. You go to the website, and it's not the website you thought it was. So it might be, hey, you need to reset your credentials. You enter your credentials. Next thing you know, they have your credentials. They go lock down your account, and you can't get in there again. Man in the middle. Man in the middle attack. Everybody likes going to that coffee shop that has free Wi-Fi. And there's that guy in the corner of the coffee shop just drinking his coffee, but he's got this little card in his computer. It's got a little antenna on it. And he's naming it whatever coffee shop, free Wi-Fi. He's getting everybody to connect to that. So you're giving him access to your computer, and he's downloading all your sensitive files. Don't use free Wi-Fi. Just stay away from free Wi-Fi. Use a VPN. You'll be better off. All right. Cybersecurity planning, things that you can do. Okay? Train your employees. That is the most important thing you can do. Train your employees. Get them where they understand what is normal, what is not normal when we're talking to you. All right? Antivirus. When that antivirus is exactly what it says, it's antivirus. But understand, antivirus is only looking for known threats. If it is a 0-day that nobody else has ever seen, it's not going to protect you. Okay? Firewall. I get questions on this before about firewall. What is a firewall? Firewall, basically, that's the gatekeeper. He's allowing you to go through that door. You can go through that door, or you can come back through it. Okay? That is the device that is sitting on your network that is saying, you can come in and you can stay out, or you stay out, but if you go out, you can come back. That firewall, you have controls that you put in place. You have different rules that it will accept and will not accept. You make sure your firewall is configured properly, and make sure that only a select few people have access to that. You don't want to make that. It's not something that everybody in your company should have access to. Only a few people. And preferably more than one, because you need somebody watching the other guy that is working on it. All right? Patches. Okay? Microsoft has Tuesday. Patch Tuesday. Every Tuesday they release patches. So make sure you patch them. Your backups, your access control, secure Wi-Fi, individual accounts, limit your access, password management. Password management is very key. Okay? Employee training. You're looking at trying to do phishing training, and you know what is called phishing training. Phishing is the same thing as phishing through text. You get a text, hey, click this for a new deal, or whatever. And next thing you know, someone gets into your phone, and they can get your phone. It's probably easier to get into someone's phone than it is to attack some organizations. Yeah. Because that phone might be the weak link. You make sure you use encryption. Use what is called a sandbox. Contacts later, I explain what a sandbox really is. Basically, it is an app that helps you access your network. Okay? I'll talk about a little bit about social engineering. There's a very good video. Go to YouTube. Type in social engineering and look for this one girl that does a social engineering test where she basically uses a crying baby in the background and changes the guy's whole account in front of him with his cell phone provider. Very, very interesting, but the guy cannot believe how fast she actually gets it done. If we had more time, I would put that in this. It's a good one to watch. Good one to show all your employees. Okay? Operational security. Operational security is really how you protect your information, how you protect your sensitive, unclassified, your sensitive information your company is using. Okay? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? What are you doing to protect that? Are you password protecting? Are you shredding everything? Are you using a cross-reference shredder instead of just the regular old file strip shredder? Okay? Are you talking about when you're going on coffee break, or is people talking about, can you believe that we are bidding on this, bidding on that? You never know who's around. Okay? Just really train your employees when it comes to this kind of stuff. All right, antivirus. As you can see, there's a lot of them out there. A whole slew of them out there. Some of you recognize. There's McAfee, there's Norton, Rescue Lab, owned by Russians. I'll leave it at that. Okay, so there's a lot of them out there. But again, it is there to detect known vulnerabilities, known viruses. But if there's a different strand of the virus that someone will modify, because a lot of times what's happened is when a hacker will take a virus and they will modify the code just a little bit so it doesn't have the same signature. And when you modify the code and make the signature just a little bit, it might not be picked up. So this is only as good as the known threats. Okay? Firewall. Firewalls is a network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing traffic, just like you can see right there. It's based on predetermined security rules. In any case, firewall is better between trusted connections and untrusted network. So, as you see right here, okay, this is the outside world. This is your network at your company. Okay, this is what's keeping everything out. Okay, you set those rules up where it knows what's blocked and what not to block. Okay, patches and updates. Okay. A little bit about patches and updates. You'll hear a lot of times it's a very sophisticated hack. Well, the sophisticated hack was because they had to patch their system. A lot of times they had to patch their system. So this vulnerability was for Windows 7, and you have a Windows 7 system, and you should have patched it a year ago, and this same vulnerability is out there, and you finally get caught up to it. You didn't patch your system. Automatic updates are good. Some of the new systems just automatically patch for you. But when you have a big company, bigger organization, you have a guy that is downloading those patches every Tuesday from Microsoft and updating them. That's how many vulnerabilities. Every Tuesday, patch Tuesday. Okay? Apple, same way. I don't know what day they release their patches, but you have to patch it also. Okay? Backup to your system is key to helping mitigate an incident. Backups are used to restore a system. So you take a backup, you should take a incremental backup during a week, like every other day, and a full backup once a week. Unless you're a one-man shop, maybe do a backup once a month. You decide, but do a backup just in case you lose everything. As my colleague here today is telling me he lost some stuff not too long ago, and he just lost it because his hard drive crashed. Well, if he has a backup, he can restore from that and go forward. He didn't lose anything. Okay? You develop a plan for backups. You can use it on cloud. You can use a RAID system. Basically, it's tape backups. They're getting more affordable. Especially you got your external cloud systems. You can go to Best Buy and buy a terabyte my cloud system that you can use until you start making more money and you start growing, get bigger when you need something much larger. But it would be good to have. Okay. All right. Talk a little bit about access control. Okay. That is who's coming in your network, who's going out of your network, how you're controlling that. Okay? Access controls determine how you get a user into a trusted area of the organization and how you don't. Okay? When you use passwords, everybody uses a password. Okay? Used to 4-character password was the standard, and then you go into 6, and then it's 8, now it's going to 15. A lot of people are going to passphrases. The little red wagon across the street in 1977, the end. It could be a sentence. You know, it's something you give multiple characters, it gets harder to crack. Okay. Dual factor authentication. Highly recommend dual factor authentication for anything sensitive. That's where the network knows it's you. It's like you put your credentials in, username, your password, and then you hit enter, and then you get that text to your phone. And it gives you a code to enter, or it could be a token that the bank gave you or someone gave you. All right? Common access card is basically like your ID card. It could be a proximity card that basically when you go into you have to scan into your system before you enter your information. It says, hey, Bryan is here. Now Bryan is entering his credentials. Yes, I believe Bryan is here right now. That's what the computer is looking at. Instead of, this is Bryan's card, but this is not Bryan's password. Or Bryan's password is entered with Angel's card. So something's wrong here. We're not going to allow him access. So things to think about. Tokens, basically, It's a random number generator that basically generates a number that's connected to, it's an algorithm connected to your network that you basically, when you enter your information, you look at your token, get your number, you enter your information, your token, and it says, okay, that's you. All right. Hours of operation. Do you allow your employees to access your network 24/7, 7 days a week? Is it common for your worker to access something at 2 o'clock in the morning? And when they usually don't, when they're not in the office. Using a virtual private network, VPN. So many VPNs out there. Okay. Basically, a VPN causes a tunnel. It's an encrypted tunnel. Basically, nobody can see in what you were doing inside that tunnel. It's an encrypted link that you're using. Okay. Hey, accountants. This is very important. Accountants. The employee should have at least privileged accounts. Just exactly what they need to do their job. They do not need accounts that gives them access to changing things on your servers or changing anything in the office, look at other people's computers when they have admin privileges. Very few people should have that administrator access. And that, whoever that is, there needs to be someone, again, that is watching what they do. You have, they call it the 4-eye principle. There's 4 eyes looking at what is being done when it comes to administrators. I'm watching, he's doing the work, and I'm watching him do the work, and I'm like, yes, that's what he's supposed to be doing. He can't do that by himself. All right? Accounts should be individual names, should not share accounts. Should be no sharing of accounts. Your account, we know that Angel, for example, what Angel does on the network, Angel should not be able to log in as Bryan. That would not be good. Okay. Physical security is something that's kind of often overlooked these days because you always hear about security breaches, the cybersecurity breaches. So, physical security, you got to look at your locks, your doors, your hinges, your walls, your windows, your ceilings, how people could get into a building. You know, you look for trying to keep that burglar out, but that burglar could be a hacker trying to go in and install something. The physical security of your network should be something that you protect. And only very few people get into that room that houses that information. So, when you look at that, there's security awareness. What is normal, what is not normal? Is it normal for your IT guy that comes to help you going into the CEO's office and messing around with your computer without the assistant or him there? Shouldn't be happening. Those things you started looking at, okay? Locks. Use quality locks. A lock for your door doesn't have to be an electronic lock. Remember, it's an electronic lock. It's only as secure as your network. Is it encrypted? Okay? Locks. You have a 6-pin lock. You have a 7-pin lock. You have high security locks. The more pins you have, basically, it makes it harder for someone to pick that lock, basically. Okay? Same with padlocks. There's things around padlocks that you can get in on real easy. You have what's called a bump key. Basically, it's a key with a hammer, you get it, and it can, sometimes it joggles the pins around and you're able to get in. Okay? Doors. Doors always use strong hardware. Don't use those little bitty screws for the hinges that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever. These big wood screws into that. Make sure it's hard to defeat. Alarms. Not all alarm systems are equal. And I'll say that. Wired is always better than wireless. Everybody loves wireless, but wireless is not very secure when it comes to that. I don't care who installs it, I'm telling you, wired is always better. All right? How to communicate is very important. Does it use cellular? Is it using voice over IP? Or is it using just a regular phone line? Those are things to consider. Okay, how it's communicating that information. Okay? Cameras. Everybody, as soon as I have a security issue, I need more cameras, we need more cameras. Well, why do you need more cameras? You need to look at what are you trying to achieve with your cameras. There's a lot of things to cameras. You can't just go down, run down to Best Buy and get a camera system that's going to cure all your problems. It just don't exist. All right? There's day cameras, there's night cameras, there's illuminators, there's thermal cameras, infrared cameras, there's IP cameras, analog cameras. Then you get into your storage. Okay? How are you storing it? Is it going to the network video recorder, or is it going to the cloud, or is it on a DVR? Is it going to a RAID system with tapes? Is it going to a server? Those are things to consider when you look at that. All of these things you have to look at because the price starts getting higher and higher and higher. That's where a company like us, we can help you decide what you need and provide that independent evaluation. Okay. Last thing, personnel security. My personal favorite. I like talking about this because this is where the majority of your breaches happen, right here. You probably recognize Mr. Snowden, one of the previous, most, I guess, popular insiders you've heard in a while. There's a lot of others, okay? According to FBI, theft of intellectual property is one of the fastest growing crimes, second only to identity theft. Hey, U.S. business will lose up to $600 billion in 2020 just to insider threat. That insider is your most damaging threat. That's your disgruntled employee. That's your employee that is in collusion with someone else that's stealing the information from you. Your employees are your weakest link. You can have all the firewalls, all the antivirus, all the locks, cameras, whatever. But that employee has access to your network, access to your sensitive information, and they can damage you more than anything else. So you have to make sure that you're watching those employees and you're training your employees. A lot of times, just a little bit of awareness with other employees, they might see something that looks odd and you can report that. You have an active insider and you have a passive insider. Your active is someone that is actively trying to hurt your organization. Your passive one could be the one that he just makes a mistake. They click on that phishing email by mistake, or they didn't intend to do something and they create a vulnerability. As long as they know that they've done that and they've been trained, they can report it and it can be fixed before something happens. But if they're afraid to report it, it could end up biting you in the long run. Okay? Social media, be careful what you allow. Pages don't allow sensitive information on social media about your company, about your employees, what you're doing. It's good if you're making a big announcement. You've got to realize what you're reporting. Your competitors could be listening. Right. In summary, if you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. That's a quote from Benjamin Franklin. I think it's very pertinent today. Okay? Information security risk, protecting your information. You need to protect your information. Cybersecurity risk for small business is very important because you are more of a target than your large corporations. Physical security, make the right decision on your security. Okay? And personnel security, your insider threat. The most damaging threat out there is your insider threat. And if you can help identify who that insider could be, and you put controls in place to protect yourself, you will be better off in the long run to help you protect your information. With that, thank you. This is my information, and do we have any questions?
Michael said, "This is good. I really enjoyed this."
Thank you, Michael.
Ken says that he doesn't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Like I said, if you have any other questions after this, my contact information is up here. You can get that from BAM Consulting. I believe they'll be sending some of these out, the slides out to everyone. I'll be happy to talk to you, help you out in any way possible. I provide independent evaluation. I'm not there to sell you a camera. I'm not there to sell you a firewall. I'll tell you what you need and what you don't need. You don't get that a lot around here. Someone's always selling you something. I'm just selling you my professional opinion. That's what I'll say.
Michael asked if we can do this again.
Absolutely. I would love to kind of pick some of these other topics and do a deeper dive, especially when it comes to insider threat, because I think that is impacting more businesses than you can imagine. It's that insider threat.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone. I appreciate it. I want to thank BAM. I want to thank Second Story for having us here. If you haven't had a chance and you need a place to have a meeting, or you need to have a small conference, training, anything like that, this is an awesome place to come visit. Awesome place. Downtown Midland, you're close to everything. Restaurants, I think there's a hotel next door. Thank you.